let's go ahead and stop this real quick. Again, that's the area of concern right there. So let's do a quick storm track on this. If this does hold together, a lot of times these are pretty quick spin-ups, and they don't last very long when you're dealing with these spin-ups within the line. But again, that's the area of concern here, tracking off to the north and to the east here. But that, if it does hold together, could eventually work here into parts of Tulsa County. So we're looking here out to the west of Kellyville and to the west of Sapulpa. So doing a quick storm track here, tracking from that area of circulation off to the north and to the east. And again, it's moving fairly quickly at about 50 miles per hour. We're looking at Bowden at about 403, Fisher 404, Prattville 404, Oakhurst about 405, Sand Springs about 406, Berry Hill about 406. Again, we don't have a tornado warning yet for Tulsa County. That's just downstream if it were to hold together. But for those of you here, north and eastern portions of Creek County here to the west and to the north of Kellyville, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. Right there is that circulation, that area of concern that we are tracking. It is right there. Let me switch this over. Let me get the storm tracks off of there real quick. Let's just see what it looks like here. Doesn't look like we're getting any sort of debris right now getting lofted in there, so that's certainly some good news. But again, just watching this closely. We'll switch this over to the rotational track, and it's fairly broad, but you can see that hint here that we are getting at least a little bit of rotation in there. Storm relative velocity, right there it is. That's pretty easy to pick out. We've got our reds going away, our greens going forward, and then just the velocity data, again, right there. It kind of lines up perfectly. So right there is our rotation. That's the area of concern with this. So that rotation right now, it is just north here of the Turnpike and just northeast here of Bristow. So those of you right now in northeastern portions here of Creek County need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. If you have a basement or a storm shelter, that would be the ideal place, but the lowest floor, whatever you've got where you are, as many walls between you and the outside as possible, just adds a little extra barrier from any flying debris. And again, if you happen to have a helmet, put on that helmet, whether it be a baseball helmet, motorcycle helmet, football helmet, whatever you may have laying around, would be a good idea to put that on to protect your head, just in case you have any debris that could hit you in the case of a tornado coming through. And also make sure you've got a good pair of shoes as well, just in case you do happen to have debris. There could be a lot of broken glass, nails, and things like that you don't want to get stuck in your feet. So again, that circulation's right here. Does look like it may have weakened a little bit from what it was just before. But again, right here is where that circulation currently is. And so we'll switch it back over to reflectivity. And you can even see there's a little curly Q type signature here to the reflectivity, indicating right there we are getting a bit of rotation right here, and that does line up with where the velocity data is as well. So again, that's that area of circulation. It's going to be moving off to the north and to the east. I'll do another quick updated storm track with this as it continues to move off to the north and east. Let me give me a little bit of room to draw that track out. And again, let's go ahead and take a look at that right here from just north and west of Kellyville. We're going to take that here off to the north and to the east. And again, it's moving close to about 50 miles per hour. Now, if it were to hold together, that could bring it here over parts of Tulsa County, even close to the downtown Tulsa area. But a lot of times these circulations within these lines, they do tend to happen pretty quickly and then dissipate relatively quickly. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that happening. But Prattville at 404, Fisher 405, Oakhurst 406, Sand Springs 407, Berry Hill 407, Gray 408, Lake 408, Oak Ridge at about 408 as well. So again, that's the area of circulation here, and it does look like it's weakened just a little bit more. So that is certainly some good news, but it is still there. And just monitoring this closely as it does move off to the north and to the east. Okay, while we've got that, just updated with the tornado warning, I want to update you real quick on some of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we do have across the area. So let me remove that storm track here real quick, and we'll kind of zoom things out. We've got a line of storms that is moving through the area. And you can see the bowing segments, these bows that we have with this line, that indicates that we probably have some very strong straight line winds with this, as it is this line continues to race to the east and to the northeast across the area. So we'll go up and down this line real quick, and then we're going to get back to that tornado warning and give you another update on that. So let me zoom back in here. We'll just go south down the line. Let's go here, southern portions here of Tulsa County into parts of Okmulgee County. You can see the bowing segment here. That is, again, a good, strong indication that we've got strong straight line winds with this. So we'll do a quick storm track here. Again, it's been moving close to about 50 miles per hour. So we'll race that here out to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So severe thunderstorm warnings here for parts of Tulsa County and Okmulgee County. We're looking at Glenpool 353 for the severe thunderstorm warning, Okmulgee 353, Hectorville 355, Sholter at about 356, Colton at about 358, Jinx at about 359. Again, the main threat with this will be potential for damaging wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour. Let's clear that off, and we'll go a little farther south here down the line, get you down to this particular bowing segment here, back down toward Henrietta here, now moving from Hughes County into McIntosh County as well. This is the area that was earlier tornado warned. Thankfully, that has been allowed to expire, but you can still see how this is really pushing forward here. That is the indicator that we could be dealing with some very strong straight line winds. So I'm going to take right here from near Henrietta back here and track this off to the north and to the east at close to 50 miles per hour. So Salem at about 353, as well as Henrietta, Hannah 355. We're looking at areas around Sunrise 357, Colton about 358. And again, damaging wind gusts 70 miles per hour going to be the bigger concern with this. But we'll still have to watch. Sometimes you get little circulations here within this line. We did have a tornado warning earlier for this portion of the line as it came across parts of Seminole and Hughes County. Thankfully, that circulation has weakened some, so no tornado warning right now. But still something that we've got to monitor as we continue to monitor this line. Let's get back up here to the tornado warning. New tornado warning now is extended into parts of Tulsa County. Look at the reflectivity here. See that little curly Q? That is an indication right there. I mean, that is, we're just looking at the reflectivity, a good indication that we are seeing some rotation with that. Mark Folta, he is right here working his way into downtown Tulsa. And if we could get Mark on the line, just so he's okay, so that way he's ready to go in case because he's written in position right now on this potential tornado. So see if we can get him on the line so he's ready to go if we do need him. And then we'll go ahead back to full screen here. I'm going to draw a quick storm track from this circulation because this now warning does extend into parts of Tulsa County. So that circulation is still sitting back here. This is just north of the Turnpike here, right around the Kellyville vicinity. Let's zoom in just a little bit closer, and then we'll do that quick storm track here with this. So I'm going to just kind of draw the segment there. Let's go a little bit closer than that, though. Let's get Kellyville to pop up there on the map. There we go. So again, that circulation's right here near Kellyville at the moment, maybe just near or north of Kellyville, and it's just going to track probably just along and north of the Turnpike, and we'll watch this potentially, if it holds together, could move here into near downtown Tulsa, areas here over western portions here of Tulsa County. And again, Mark is right here downtown. He's getting in really good position here on this storm. Can you hear me, Mark? Mark may not be able to hear me, but again, you can see he is right here. You can see where he is. He's working his way west on Highway 412. So there's Mark. You got the view here on the right side of your screen. Okay, I can hear Mark now. And Mark, you're really getting in really good position on this storm, and I don't want to bother you too much while you're working to get in position, but just kind of an update with what you have seen with this as it's approaching Tulsa.
Yeah, Michael, definitely seeing a lot of lightning in that area. I'm just a few miles to the east of it, but I'm pushing westward pretty much right into the direct path of it. So I think the best thing probably to do is just keep an eye on my shot there to the side. And if you just want to keep me on the phone, I'll holler at you if I see anything.
That sounds great to me, Mark. And again, you can see Mark's vantage point right there on the right side of your screen. He is working on Highway 412. You may recognize right where he's at to the west of downtown, moving towards Sand Springs and getting right in the path here of this tornado warning and that circulation here off to the south and to the west. And again, I do want to do a quick storm track on this. We'll go ahead back to full screen real quick, and then we're going to get back to that two-shot with Mark's shot. But while I draw the storm track, I wanted to have this full screen for a moment so you can clearly see the times that are up there. And again, that circulation here is just off to the south and west of downtown Tulsa, right near and west of Sapulpa. So again, let me just grab the storm track here. We're going to track this here off to the north and to the east. And again, it's moving close to about 45, 50 miles per hour. So we're looking here, Prattville, pretty much moving in here within the next 10 minutes or so, 404, Fisher, 405, Oakhurst, 406, Sand Springs at about 407, Berry Hill, 407, areas around Red Fork, about 410. And again, just beyond that here, we're looking at potentially areas here around downtown Tulsa if this were to continue to hold together. But we have seen that tornado warning extended here now into parts of Tulsa County. Right there is Mark here. You can see the GPS. He's right here on Highway 412 working to get in position. There you can see the lightning flashing from his vantage point as well. So again, right now, northeastern portions of Creek County, western portions of Tulsa County, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. We do have an area of circulation, a potential tornado just now moving into northeastern portions of Creek County that is going to cross over here into western portions of Tulsa County. So again, go ahead and take those tornado precautions. You want to be in the lowest floor of your residence or building, wherever you might be, and as many walls between you and the outside as possible, just in case we do get any sort of debris with this potential tornado. And again, right there is that circulation still right about here. Let me go ahead and get a couple areas. Let me remove that storm track here real quick and just get a little bit more analysis here, see if there's any sort of debris getting lofted, any hints of that. Not seeing any hints of that, so that's good news there. Not seeing any hints that we have any debris being lofted, at least at the moment, so that's certainly some good news. But that circulation, actually got another area here, circulation with this area here near Kellyville. So we've got this area here, and we've got another one here. Now this one, let me switch this back here. Let's get another closer look. This might actually have a little bit of debris in it, this circulation. Let's zoom in just a little closer here. Let's go right here near the Kellyville area. This is a new tornado warning for another area of circulation. So let's switch this back to rotation right here. And we've got velocity data. Yeah, we do. We do have another area of rotation developing here, and perhaps just a slight drop here in the correlation coefficient that might indicate that we might actually be getting a little bit of debris lofted with this. So let me just play this real quick because I want to watch this play out just because I'm analyzing it as I go here, and I just want to make sure we're looking at this correctly. And again, maybe just a little bit, just kind of keep an eye on that. Let me go back to storm relative velocity. There's that area of circulation that actually shows up really well with the storm relative right there. So again, this is a new area of circulation that has just popped in here right over Highway 66 and I-44. So this is Kellyville here. And so again, this right here is that area of circulation. So this now is going to be heading towards Sapulpa. So Sapulpa, right now, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. So again, we just let me zoom out just a little bit here, and then we're going to go back in. And again, we have got two areas now that we're watching. So let's go back in here a little bit tighter. Right here on the south and west side of the Tulsa Metro. So we had that earlier circulation that was going up to the north and to the east that was tracking up here into Tulsa County. That's still ongoing. We've got a new circulation that's developed right near Kellyville that's coming over I-44 and Highway 66. And again, let's go just a little bit tighter here because this new circulation is actually looking a little more pronounced than that northern one. You can see the red outbounds here, the green inbounds here. So there's our broad area of circulation. So we've got Highway 66 here. Right here is Kellyville. Right here is West Teal Road. So we're looking at West Teal Road here and Highway 66 just to the north and east of Kellyville. Right there is that circulation. So this is now trapped tracking up into Sapulpa. So Sapulpa right now, in Sapulpa, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. This circulation is moving in your direction. Let's go ahead and pan here a little bit farther to the north and to the east. So again, this is a potentially dangerous situation here for Sapulpa. There's your red outbounds. Here's the green inbounds. And right there is that circulation. So this would be coming right into the Sapulpa area at the moment. Let me get back over here to the correlation coefficient. See if we're getting, does look like we've got a slight drop here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do have a little debris getting lofted here. It doesn't look very pronounced. I've seen a lot worse with that correlation coefficient drop, but that is at least something. And it does line up pretty well with where we've got the velocity data here. Let me go back to storm relative because that is certainly a bit more pronounced here. And just real quick, again, Sapulpa, take your tornado precautions right now. Interior room, lowest floor possible. Make sure you've got a helmet to protect your head, good shoes on. Take those tornado precautions right now. I do want to pan back to the north because I don't want to forget about this other circulation farther here to the north. And that's the circulation that Mark Folta has been working to get in position here. That is right here to the south and to the west of Sand Springs. So we've got two areas of circulation that are really of concern right now on the west side of the Tulsa Metro. And again, we've got the one here. There's Mark Folta here approaching the Sand Springs area. You can see his view here where he's getting some of the rain coming down. And again, seeing some of those flashes of lightning. And again, we've also got the area farther to the south. So I do want to do a quick storm track with this and just update you here. Again, Sapulpa, circulation's been moving in, and we certainly need to be taking those tornado precautions in Sapulpa. And again, here is the concern with this one now, the south and to the west of Sand Springs. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to zoom back in. Those are the two areas of concern that we have right now. And again, I'm moving at close to 45 to 50 miles per hour. So what I will do here is just go in just a little bit tighter. And then I'll draw that storm track for the northern storm. Let's go just a little bit more here. And that way we can get this next track here. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and pan here, and then I'm going to draw that track out here for this one. It's not as pronounced as what we're seeing with the one in Sapulpa, but it's still there. So I just want to track this off to the north and to the east just to give you another update with this one here. So basically moving into the Sand Springs area here within the next few minutes. So go ahead and take those tornado precautions right now around the Sand Springs area, also here around Fisher, areas here around Prattville. Also, as you head over to around Gray, downstream from here, if it were to hold together, it would be in areas here of West Tulsa, the Gilcrease Museum, Tulsa Country Club, maybe possibly downtown Tulsa or areas north here of downtown as you head up to around Turley. So if it does hold together, that's where that may end up tracking. Let's get back now to the other storm that was down near Sapulpa. Panning back down here to the south. Let's zoom in just a little bit closer. Again, we got that additional tornado warning for that new circulation that formed here right near the Sapulpa area. Now, it's not quite as pronounced as it was earlier, but it is still there. Let's go ahead and just play this out real quick. Still seeing right there. There's your red outbounds there, your green inbounds there. So that circulation is still right here from Sapulpa and westward, fairly broad, but it is most definitely showing up there. Let's go back to correlation coefficient, not very pronounced, but maybe just a slight drop there. But again, not extremely pronounced, but definitely this area of circulation is showing up here right in Sapulpa. Let me stop that so we can get a look at the latest imagery. So again, switching back over to storm relative velocity, there's that circulation. Sapulpa, again, need to be taking your tornado precautions right now with this as it continues to move off. This one's moving more toward the east and northeast at the moment. So let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom out just a bit. We're going to zoom right back in and do a quick storm track with this. And so we've got those two areas of circulation right now that are of the biggest concern. This one here near Sapulpa, and then this one here to the south and west of Sand Springs, which is showing some signs that that one might be weakening a bit. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that continues to be the trend. So again, we're looking here southwest side of the Tulsa metro here. That circulation here around Sapulpa is still fairly pronounced, but I'm going to do a quick storm track. The tornado warning for that storm does not right now at the moment continue into Tulsa County because there's a chance it could weaken. But if that circulation holds, we might see this tornado warning continued here for southern portions of the Tulsa metro, including areas here around Jenks and South Tulsa. So I am going to draw the storm track out that far, just in case it does hold together, even though we currently do not have a tornado warning for those areas. So I'm going to do a quick storm track. I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit more because that is too slow there with what this is actually moving. So I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit more and then zoom back in because these have been fast movers, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So let me just zoom back in here. And now we'll go ahead and draw that storm track out. That should give me enough room here to draw that storm track out here across southern portions of the metro. So again, moving at a pretty good clip, 40 to about 50 miles per hour. We'll do the average about 45. So Tulsa Hills, 414, Jones Riverside Airport, 415. So looking at this now, getting within 10 minutes or so of areas here around the Jenks vicinity. Cityplex Towers, 417, ORU, 418. Heller Park, 418, Southern Hills, 419, Holland Hall, 420, Hunter Park, 420, Edison High School, 420. Again, currently no tornado warning in effect here across southern portions of Tulsa County, but if that circulation were to hold together, that circulation could work here across southern portions of Tulsa County. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, Sapulpa right now, you do need to be taking your tornado precautions. That circulation's coming right over the Sapulpa area, and then we're going to get back to the north here for that circulation near Sand Springs. So there's that circulation. It's broad. Thankfully, it's fairly broad circulation, and so far have not had any reports of anything confirmed, but we are getting just a slight drop in the correlation coefficient right around that area of circulation, but thankfully not a very pronounced drop, which could indicate some debris being lofted. Now let's pan back to the north here. Let me switch this back over to storm relative velocity. We're going to pan north because I do want to get back now to the Sand Springs circulation that we've been closely watching back up here near the Prattville area. So here is that circulation, also fairly broad. But again, this is the area here that we're watching near Prattville and to the south of Sand Springs. So your reds are your outbounds right here. You can see that green inbound pushing in this direction. So fairly broad rotation, but enough that potentially we could have a tornado develop with this. And that's why we've got a tornado warning here for western portions of Tulsa County. And this has been moving off to the north and to the east at close to, again, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So these have certainly not been slow as they've been pushing off to the north and to the east. We got Mark Volta here trying to work his way in position as this does come to the north and to the east. And there is Mark's view right there. Again, working his way around the downtown area. He was on Highway 412. Now it looks like he's working his way down to around 244 to get in position on some of these areas of circulation. So there's Prattville right here. Again, this is fairly broad circulation, but you can still see it is still here right now over western portions of Tulsa County. And we have seen severe thunderstorm warning extended into much of Tulsa County. Let me switch this back over to the reflectivity real quick and give you an update on that too. So let's zoom out as well here. And again, we'll go back here to the home, and then we're going to zoom back in. And again, looking here, let's go ahead and zoom in right into the Tulsa area. And again, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings here that have been extended. Now does include areas here east of Tulsa, up to Claremore, Coweta, back here to around the Muskogee area. And look at this. How about this? This is pretty impressive. There's our line here, and look how all this kind of wraps back up here to where we have those two areas of circulation. That is what you would call a bookend vortex. And so you've got the main line pushing forward, and on the northern end of that, as this pushes forward, you get a little kind of rotation, and we call a bookend vortex. So that's what's actually producing these circulations here to the south and to the west of Tulsa. But this area here, potentially some very strong straight line winds. I do want to do a quick storm track on that because I don't want to leave you out here as well for areas around Claremore, back through Coweta and Muskogee as this races off to the north and to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So NSU Broken Arrow pretty much coming in as we speak. Same with Broken Arrow High School. Lynn Lane 412. We're looking at Tiger 412, Haskell 412, Jamesville 414, Boynton at about 414. And again, downwind here, about a half hour probably even a little less than that, 20 minutes to a half hour here from Inola, Wagner, back down to around Muskogee as well as these continue to move off pretty quickly here to the north and to the east. Let me go ahead and remove that. Just want to do a quick storm track there. I do want to pan a little farther here to the south. We have severe thunderstorm warnings farther south here, parts of McIntosh County as well. So let's get back here into these tornado warnings. This is right now the most imminent threat that we have here into the Tulsa metro. We're going to zoom in a little closer. We've had two areas of circulation that have really been the concern for us. Let's go back to storm relative velocity. Again, we've got areas here that were near Sapulpa and another circulation here to the north over western portions of Tulsa County. Mark Volta's right here, just to the east of that northern circulation. Let's get back down here with that circulation right near the, it looks like Sapulpa and Glenpool area. That circulation that was over Sapulpa certainly looking fairly broad, getting a little bit more here. We'll have to watch these greens. If they start to brighten up a little bit, that might be indicating that we might see this rotation try to perhaps tighten up. And if we've got any more reds that begin to show up here. But there's that area. It's fairly broad right now, but that's the area right here where that potential tornado would be. So we're looking north of Kiefer, now beginning to move off to the east of Sapulpa. We have not seen the tornado warning extended yet into parts of Tulsa County, so that is certainly some good news there as that rotation. Oh, wow, it has really, looks like toned down at least a little bit from what it was earlier here with that latest update. That is a positive update right there. And you can see now that circulation still fairly broad, but a lot weaker compared to what it was earlier, now beginning to work here over portions of Tulsa County. So right here's the Creek Turnpike. Here's Highway 75. So again, we're looking right in that area is where we've got some very weak rotation and weak enough that that tornado warning has not been continued into southern portions of Tulsa County. Let's get back to the north here because I still want to keep an eye. This area now near Sand Springs, this is looking really interesting here. We've got some greens and some reds getting a little closer now to around the Sand Springs vicinity. Got to watch this. Also, this area down here near the Red Fork area, this area is tornado warned. And these evolve within these lines like this. They can evolve pretty quickly. It's not like we have a supercell tracking through and you know about where that rotation is going to be. This is a little bit different situation, so it can be a bit more tricky to monitor and to track. And so we've got a couple areas here that certainly worth watching. Let me switch this over. And again, that's kind of the area that we were just pointing out here, the Sand Springs down to Red Fork area. If you switch it back to storm relative velocity, you can see the reds this way, the greens this way. It is very broad, but a couple little areas here worth watching here near Red Fork and back over to around the Sand Springs area that are could be relatively interesting here as far as that circulation trying to tighten up just a bit. So really watching this closely. Let's go back here to reflectivity data. And again, we've got a lot of heavy rain with this as well. That might be a new tornado warning. Let's see what we've got here. That I can hear the alert coming across my phone. Let's see if that's a tornado warning or perhaps maybe even that is a tornado warning right now. So you can hear the audio here. I'm sure your phones are doing the same thing at home as those are going off. So again, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 5 miles northeast of Bristol. That's what we've been tracking. And again, so that does include areas here. Now, we are going to include that here into Tulsa County. So that is what we have been watching. Let's go ahead and switch this back over to velocity data here real quick. And so now that tornado warning is including Tulsa County. So let me just pan here, see where we've got. Let me zoom out just. Okay, so let's get Mark on the phone here and get his vantage point. He's right here, right near that circulation. And Mark, you're right near this area that is of concern here, right near the Red Fork area. What are you seeing right now?
I can definitely confirm a lot of inflow being pulled into this tornadic warm storm. Probably 60 mile an hour. I've definitely had some 60 mile an hour wind gusts come across 61st Street South. and Highway 75 here just a couple of minutes ago. But that thing, I'm right here in it. So if it produces anything, I'm going to be right here in it. I'm not seeing any power flashes. It's actually kind of calm right here by the Pepsi Cola plant, which is kind of eerie because a minute ago I really had some strong winds here.
Yeah, it looks like as you were coming south down Highway 75, you were in that inflow region, Mark, and you're right now pretty close to where that circulation is. So you may have actually gotten out of that inflow region. You're pretty close right now to that circulation.
Yeah, it's starting to pick back up again right now as I'm approaching the Pepsi plant in the Arkansas River. I'm about to go over the Arkansas River here on the I-44, and I now have wind speed again, probably around 50 out of the south. So I'm thinking that any tornadic circulation is just going to be a mile to my west or northwest. But I'm definitely getting back into that inflow portion right now. And it's pretty stiff inflow, Mike. I, at one point, had inflow out of the due east when I was closer to downtown Tulsa, which I think would have been feeding into the Sand Springs circulation.
I would definitely agree with that, Mark. Just kind of judging the way you've kind of worked your way here from Sand Springs down to around Highway 75. There you can see Mark's view coming over here, I-44. If we go back to dual Doppler, we can show you what's happening here again. There is Mark right here. So the circulation's up here. So as Mark was coming south, he was feeling the inflow being pulled into the circulation that's back here. And that's where he was saying, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. And now that circulation, as Mark was pointing out, he said it was probably just west of him or northwest of him. And that's exactly the case here. You can see that circulation is just to the northwest of him. Let me remove that off of there real quick. And we will get another look here. I'm going to have to do a quick storm track on this as it does move off to the north here and to the east. Let me go ahead and go back to the home zoom here, see if I can get this to pan back for me. And it looks like perhaps, hopefully my clicker's working here. There it goes. Thought maybe I lost the clicker there for a second. It wasn't quite working for me, but let's zoom back in here and get a look here at this circulation. We're going to do a quick storm track here right across the Tulsa Metro. So we do have a tornado warning here for southern portions of the Tulsa Metro. The circulation is back here just now to the south and to the west of downtown Tulsa. So I'm going to track this here off to the east. And again, this is going to come right across here, areas of around Midtown. Let me zoom pan that out here. Let me go ahead and remove that. I'm going to actually pan this a little farther to the west so we can actually get the correct speed here. And now we'll draw that track on there. That should give me enough room here. Again, been moving close to 40 to 50 miles per hour. These have not been slow movers this evening. So again, gathering place, pretty much about ready to move in. Brookside right now, about ready to move in. That actually puts the studio in the path. So if those of you in the studio want to take cover, I would go ahead and do so. I'm going to go ahead and stay on the air here. St. John, we're looking at 419, Utica Square 419, TU about 421, Fairgrounds 422, Bishop Kelly about 423, Lynn Lane at 433. So again, that does put the studio here in the path of this potential tornado. So take those tornado precautions here. There is that circulation. It's right back here. It actually might be trying to lift a little bit farther to the north. Let's go back and zoom in on this. That circulation is very close here. You can see the inbounds here. It's fairly broad, and it looks like it's right near West Tulsa. May have lifted a little bit more to the north compared to that more easterly push. But there's the circulation here. Here's 244, so this is coming right up into West Tulsa. We've got downtown Tulsa here. That's where we've got, again, the inflow region. And then here is your RFD right here. So right there is that broad circulation. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over here to correlation coefficient, see if we got any sort of debris being lofted. Not seeing anything pronounced right now. That is certainly some good news. But again, we've got rotation here, potential tornado right now on the west side here of Tulsa. So we're looking at West Tulsa here. Let's go ahead and switch this back to the velocity data. And again, let's go ahead and pan a little farther here to the north. So this is the area of concern right here. If we switch this back over to storm relative velocity, that's a little bit more pronounced. Now, I will say, the circulation is not very tight. A lot of times with a tighter circulation, you're going to see those reds and greens a lot closer to each other. So again, thankfully right now, we are not seeing that. Okay, so we just got a report from Mark possibly getting a little bit of hail. You can see Mark's position where he is at the moment. And again, right there is the area of concern. That circulation is very broad, but it is now actually lifting back over to around downtown Tulsa. Just took a power hit here at the station. We've got Mark.
Hey, Michael.
And Mark, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, I'm probably getting 70-mile-an-hour inflow at Lewis and 41st. Massive inflow. A lot of tree limbs have come down. I don't think this is a tornado right here in this area. I think this is just the inflow that's feeding up. The tornado might be a mile to 2 miles northwest of me if there is a tornado. But, man, this inflow, as I was coming from Peoria to Lewis, easily 70 mile an hour, and I'm still in that zone now, at least 60 miles here by Edison. I'm approaching Edison High School, and I know people, it looks like some of the power might be flashing back. But yeah, power. Oh, my God, I'm in a tornado right here. You see that?
Oh, I see. I can see the wind picking up here. And Mark,
right here at Edison High School, just on the west side of it. It just went across the road. Multiple power flashes are taking place to my south.
All right, so let's get
I'm in it.
So we've got Mark's position here. I'm going to try to reposition here the radar. Stay with us here, Mark. And it does look like, from your vantage point here, that it was pretty quick from what I saw with the wind picking up. And is it calmed down a little bit right now?
Yeah, it's calmed down a little bit. I drove right into it. I don't know if you saw it. It's right here. If you were at Edison High School and it would have been 50 yards to the west of Edison High School on 41st. Big circulation, not a big circulation, small circulation came right across the road, hit my car, kind of pulled me to the north a little bit. But right now, I'm at Florence, and it's somewhat calm right here at Florence. It's probably just 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts here right now, Michael.
Okay. Another power hit here at the station. Again, that might occasionally be what's happening.
Oh, my God. Another one, Michael. Right here again, 41st and Harvard.
So let's
easily 80-mile-an-hour winds, 41st and Harvard.
Okay, let's go ahead. Keep Mark's shot up there, but I want to get the radar data up here because I want to be able to point out what we're looking at here.
Got debris coming through the air.
Yep, I can see what you've got here. So again, Mark is right here. The circulation's pretty broad right now here over the much of the metro, so we might just be getting some
more power flashes. It's going to be just to my west. More power flashes. Probably right. Yeah, and the winds are picking up too. Winds probably 70, 75, maybe 80.
I appreciate that, Mark. And again, so right here is where Mark is. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer here so we can get a closer vantage point. And again, here's our greens here flowing in this direction. We've got our reds in that direction. Of course, we're looking at the storm relative. Let's go straight to the velocity data. And so we've got a lot of inbounds here. So Mark is south of where the, let me go ahead and zoom that in right there real quick, and then we're going to pan a little farther here to the south. So what we're seeing right now is what could be...
Oh, Michael, look at my shot. Look at these trees about to get... Well, just look at this. There's definite circulation right here. Look at my shot.
I've got the shot here, and right now, again, let's go back here. Let's put both radar and the shot up there.
Oh, man, more debris flying. I can hear it. I can hear wind whipping.
So right here is Mark. We can see Mark's vantage point. We got a lot of the inbound winds here flowing toward the radar. So which way are you facing right now, Mark?
South. I'm parked on Harvard, facing south at 41st and Harvard.
Okay, so you can see right now we've got strong westerly winds. It looks like is it maybe southwest or westerly winds where you are?
It's everything. It's circular. It's southwest and northwest and coming due west. It's just every direction from southwest to northwest, every direction of the wind. I'm getting hit with it here, Michael.
So what we're seeing here, at least on the velocity data, is it looks like this is pretty strong RFD, and you might be getting some little perhaps eddies and swirls within that RFD because we've got fairly strong here greens, fairly widespread across the area.
Oh, power flash! Another power flash right here in front of me. Watch.
And let me get this tornado warning. I'm sure all the everybody's phones are going off right here. So what we're looking at here, let's get back here to Again, there's Mark's view right there, and you can see he's been dealing with some strong winds. And what we've got right now happening here in the metro is a lot of strong straight line winds, and we still have that tornado warning that is in effect. Let me go ahead and zoom out just a bit.
Another power flash, Mike. Watch that shot. Hold that.
Okay.
Watch that.
Oh, right there. Wow, there you go. You can see the power flash. And so we've got a lot of straight line winds into the metro as well, along with the tornado warning. So as we zoom back in here into our shot, let's go ahead and take a look right here.
I just got hit by debris, Mike. Something just hit me here. I don't know what it was. It was a tree or something. I'm all right, though, but it slammed into the side of the car. 36 in Harvard.
Okay. So right here is Mark, and you can see the greens that we've got here. Again, so those of you here across Midtown, we're going to have a lot of strong winds moving on in. We do have a tornado warning in effect. But a lot of this here, especially as you go further south, a lot of this is going to be strong straight line winds and maybe a little bit of, again, there could be a few swirls in there as well, what you call eddies. The main circulation's back here a little bit farther to the north, and it's actually maybe broadened out just a little bit. Let's go back here to storm relative velocity. And again, it's not very tight as far as a tornadic circulation, but we're getting a lot of strong winds here.
More power flashes.
More strong winds. You can look at the power flashes on Mark's live shot there. So again, we've got a lot of strong winds right now moving across Midtown.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man, that's got to be a tornado on the ground, Mike. I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but we've got to treat this as if it is, because I have not seen that many multiple power flashes in one area like that. Usually when you have straight line winds, it's all up and down, but these power flashes are right in the same spot. Spot on. It reminds me of the 2017 Midtown tornado. The same exact power flashes are doing the exact same thing, and I'm going to estimate that they are at Sheridan right now in the Broken Arrow Expressway. I'm seeing multiple sustained power flashes in that area, Mike.
All right, I appreciate that, Mark. And again, we've got there is Mark's vantage point right here. You can see where we've got those strong winds here, and you can see perhaps law enforcement right there. And flashing lights there. Let's go ahead back here. We got Mark's shot up there, but let's go ahead and get a look at what we've got here radar-wise, because I want to be able to warn you with what's going on here. Again, there is Mark right here. We've got a lot of strong winds. We've got a tornado warning that is in effect right now across the Tulsa metro. And I didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and move this back here. Let me take that off of there real quick. And again, here's what we're looking at. Again, there is Mark. We've got a lot of greens here indicating for very strong winds right now across Midtown Tulsa. And look at, it is across pretty much all of Midtown Tulsa right now. Very strong winds moving on through. We've got areas here, again, as you go north of north of I-244, as you get up to around Mingo and Garnett, not very strong. But again, right now, we do have strong winds, potential tornado here moving from Tulsa. Again, right across areas here. There's more power flashes right there from Mark's vantage point right there. So again, we're seeing damage occurring right now in parts of Midtown Tulsa with these very areas here with a potential tornado and very strong winds moving on in. Now, the radar is not indicating much in the way of a very tight circulation. So that's, again, kind of interesting. But again, we've got a lot of strong winds here, and you can see these bright greens indicating that. Let me see if we can go ahead and see what we've got here. Let me see if we can pop up here the potential. There's that tornado warning that's in effect. Again, let's go ahead and take that off of there real quick. And let's do this one right here, because I do want to see what kind of winds. There you go, 76 miles per hour, 64 miles per hour. So across a lot of Midtown Tulsa, we've got some very strong winds here. So again, maybe up to around 82 miles per hour showing up here in our velocity data. So again, we've got some very strong winds moving across Tulsa right now. We do have a tornado warning that is also in effect, but again, certainly keeping a wide area here of some very strong winds coming right across the areas here around Tulsa. So again, just looking here at the, again, I can pinpoint any one of these areas here, 76 miles per hour. Again, we're looking at areas here, 74 miles per hour. So this is a wide area here of some very strong winds that are moving on through. So again, tornadoes can sometimes be very tight, very small, but this is a wide area here that we're dealing with some very strong winds that are coming right across Midtown Tulsa here, producing power flashes, which we can see from Mark's vantage point. Again, we've got, there's Mark's view again, and we've seen multiple power flashes, Mark, from your view here. And again, seeing the lightning flashing as well. So again, really strong winds right now in Midtown Tulsa. Take those tornado precautions right now if you are in Tulsa. Even if you don't deal with a tornado, we've got a lot of strong winds to deal with here that may produce some damage and some power outages as this continues to move on through. So again, we've got a very strong and damaging thunderstorm potential for a tornado coming right across the Tulsa metro. I am going to go ahead and let's go ahead and take off some of those right there. And I'm going to zoom out again because it looks like we're getting additional areas here. It looks like what we've got a large area here, a fairly large tornado warning. Let's get a look at this line because we've got other areas here of concern. Let me switch this back over. Let's get this back over to the reflectivity here. And again, in Tulsa right now, need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Let's go ahead and zoom in here right into this line that continues to move here across areas here. We've got Rogers County, Wagner County, back down into Muskogee County, and we've got multiple circulations within this line. Again, back into Tulsa, we've got that circulation here, which is right about here north of where Mark Fulta is, and then just some very strong winds moving across much of the metro. And again, look at this line. A large tornado warning has just been issued just because we have multiple circulations within this line. Again, there you can see here around Wagner, back down to around Muskogee. Let's switch this back over to velocity data here real quick just to kind of get an idea. So again, you don't see this happen very often where you get just one big tornado warning to just warn for areas here right along the main line. So let's go ahead. I am going to do a quick storm track with this. Let's switch this back to reflectivity because that'll give it a little easier here to track this main line is moving on through. So we'll track the northern end of this. So this is going to include those of you here, Chelsea to around Shoto. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. There we go. And let's draw this out to the north and to the east. Again, this has been racing off close to 50 miles per hour most of the evening hours. So Foyle pretty much moving in as we speak here. We've got Rocky Point at 435, Shoto 435, Bushy Head 436, Paradise View at around 437, Pine Oaks Acres 439, Yonkers 440. So that, again, that is here. We're now well east of Tulsa. Tornado warning for this line as it continues to push here off to the east. I don't want to leave you out here. We're going to go a little farther south down this line. And then we're going to get right back into the Tulsa metro. Mark has been tracking right across areas around Tulsa, and we've seen power flashes from Mark's vantage point. He has been right on top of it so far this evening. Let's go here and track now farther to the south here around Wagner, down to around Muskogee. So we'll go here, Wagner County, Muskogee County, back down here. Also, as we move this off to the east, this is going to affect Cherokee County, eventually into parts of Sequoia County and Adair County. So West Muskogee, 434, Warner at about 435, McLean 437, Muskogee at about 437. And again, this entire line will probably have some damaging wind threat, but there is a chance that we could even get a couple spin-up tornadoes with this. That's why we have kind of a large broad brush tornado warning within that entire line as it does move off here to the east and to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So again, anywhere along this line, damaging wind gusts will be likely, but we could have a quick spin up of a tornado. So go ahead and take those tornado precautions in case you would happen to see that. So again, we're looking here to the east of Tulsa as this line's getting much closer here now to Highway 69. Let's go ahead and pan a little farther here down farther to the south, notice as we get down here into parts of Pittsburgh County, thankfully we're not dealing with any warnings farther to the south, but some heavy rain, some lightning and thunder back down to around McAllister and Savannah, likely some gusty winds. All right, let's get back up here into the Tulsa Metro, kind of get an idea of what we're looking at here. And so we've really watched this push through. So a lot of strong winds across the Tulsa Metro, not just tornadic. We've had some strong straight line winds as well with what you call, it looks like a kind of a rear inflow jet, just kind of pushing. That's what's helping push this bow out. And we've seen a lot of strong winds in with that. So let's go back here to the velocity data. There is Mark right here. He is now working his way here on the east side of the Metro. You can see his GPS point. There is his view. And he is on the Broken Arrow Expressway right now. I can see your vantage point here, Mark, as you're moving off to the south and to the east. And again,
yeah, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know there were several of those, the power flashes I was telling you about. There's probably going to be damage. The entire power is out over about the 36th and Sheridan area in there. And I also wanted to point out as well, a lot of people may have seen me when I'm tracking that storm going through red lights. That people need to know I'm being very careful with that. But it's very important that I stay with this storm, especially maybe through a populated area like Tulsa. So I've been getting a lot of texts about that, but I want people to know, and you let them know as well, too, that I'm out here for your safety to keep you safe, but I'm being very safe as I'm coming through some of these red lights and not making a full stop. Michael, back to you.
I appreciate that, Mark. And again, there you can see Mark's vantage point right there. And again, we've had some very strong winds right now in the Tulsa Metro, wind speeds. And again, as I was plotting some of those wind speeds on there, we've had wind gusts at times, probably close to 70, 80 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back in. We'll plot a few more of those as well. And again, we've likely had some damage across the Tulsa Metro with this. So let me go ahead and do a quick here with some plots. And again, Lynn Lane here, we're still getting, again, look at some of these wind speeds here. Look at this. I mean, these are impressive. 97 miles per hour on the velocity data potential here. That is, again, fully capable of doing some damage. So we've got a potential here for some very strong winds still working here across eastern parts of the Tulsa Metro. So again, some of these strong winds here now beginning to, at least some of the stronger winds getting pretty much here, Highway 169 and eastward here. So we've got areas here. There's where Catoosa is right here, and where I-44 meets up with Highway 412. So we're looking at here, Highway 412, east side of Tulsa, and then probably just south of there as you get back down here, 21st Street, 31st down to 41st. Again, that's probably where we're seeing some of these really strong winds. Again, this came right across areas here, Midtown, Tulsa, Brookside, right across Midtown. Some of these very strong winds now pushing now into eastern parts of the Metro. And as Mark was pointing out, probably had a lot of damage out there with that. So let's go ahead and remove those off of there real quick. And again, still have a tornado warning in effect here for the east side of the Tulsa Metro, but also within that potential for rotation, we've just got some very strong winds as well, fully capable of doing some damage. And we've, as we saw on Mark's vantage point, multiple power flashes moving on through. So let's go ahead, and again, we've got additional warnings to keep you advised on. For those of you here to the east, I definitely don't want to forget about you either. So let's get back here to this really wide tornado warning that was issued for along this line of storms. So we'll zoom out again. I'll put this in motion, and so you can get a good idea of how this is tracking. So again, I mean, this is racing off quickly. Look at this. This is really moving quickly off to the east and northeast. And see how each one of these has a little bow in here, a little bowing segments, kind of like that bow and arrows where it's kind of bowing out. That's where we could get a little extra push with the winds. So again, this is now racing up to around Pryor and Muskogee here. And it does look like the National Weather Service is going to let the tornado warning expire. They have extended the warning now to a severe thunderstorm warning here from Mays County into Cherokee County. So the tornado warning, thankfully, will be allowed to expire. But let's go ahead and do a quick storm track on this as it continues to move off to the north and to the east. So let me zoom in just a little bit closer here. Let me stop that first, and then we're going to zoom in and get a look at this line. Again, potential for some damaging winds with this as it does move off to the north and east. So we're looking here, Chelsea, back down to around Pryor, Choteau, Locust Grove, back down to around Wagner. Let's do a quick storm track here. And again, it is not wasting time here, pushing off to the east and northeast, moving close to about 50 miles per hour. So Paradise View, we're looking at pretty much moving in right now. Yonkers 440, we're looking at Pryor at around 441. So again, pretty much moving in as we speak. Murphy 442, Sportsman Acres 443, Chelsea 443. And again, everything racing off here. So again, just outside of some of those times here, we've got Veneta, we've got Strang, we've got Locust Grove. Again, go ahead and stay away from windows as this line of storms approaches. And again, thankfully, the tornado warning looks like it's going to be allowed to expire, but we're still going to have potential for some very strong straight line winds as this does continue to push off to the north and to the east. So let me go ahead and take that track off of there. We'll pan a little farther here down to the south within this line. And again, now the line coming back here into Muskogee, there's a little notch here. We'll go ahead and do the track, but then I'm gonna go back and do some analysis here on that notch. That might be a little concerning there. So let's go ahead and do a quick storm track because I don't want to forget about you all here as well. Back down through Muskogee, this line now pushing here out of McIntosh County into Sequoia County, also here Cherokee County and Adair County. So Porham 442, Sequoia State Park 442, Fort Gibson 443, Braggs 444. We're looking at Greenleaf State Park 446, and eventually Gore at around 450. So again, that's with this line here pushing to the north and to the east, about 50 miles per hour. Wind gusts could be upwards of 70 miles per hour, especially where we have some of these Boeing segments. That's where you could really deal with some very strong wind gusts. And I mentioned I do it, just get a look at this little notch. That notch right there could be concerning. So let me just switch this over to velocity real quick, see what we've got. We'll zoom in a little bit tighter here, right around the Muskogee area. And yeah, we're getting a little hint here. Perhaps some rotation. So we're going to have to watch this area here just now to the south and to the east of Muskogee. Let me put the reflectivity back on there real quick. That is right where that notch is. Go back to velocity. Look at that. That lines up perfectly. So we got to watch this closely here. Grandview Heights, we're definitely seeing some circulation here to the south and to the east of Muskogee. So we're going to watch this area closely here in Muskogee County. And again, that will eventually track over and cross over the county line into Cherokee County. But just monitoring this for those of you here at Pumpkin Center. Also here, got to keep a close eye on this for Fort Gibson because this will likely track off probably to the east or slightly north of east if it would happen to tighten up any tighter than what it currently is doing. Let me go back to storm relative. Again, right there's our greens, right there's our reds. Seems to be lining up just right. See if our rotation shows that as well. It's kind of in the same area. So really watching this area now here to the south and east of Muskogee for at least potential circulation with this. Now it's moved off a little bit farther to the east. Again, there's that notch. So what's happening is that we're getting probably a little inflow here that's getting pulled into this area. So that's why it clears out this notch. And then you get this area that surges forward. And that, just looking at the reflectivity, that's an idea right there. There's your inflow, there's your RFD, and right there's going to be your rotation. And when you put the velocity on here, bam, it lines up perfectly. Storm relative velocity, bam, lines up perfectly. So right there is that potential for some circulation that might be trying to tighten a little bit here just to the east of Muskogee. So again, watching that closely at the moment. So I'm just going to zoom out here. And actually pan a little bit, actually, instead of zooming out, I'm just going to pan here a little bit to the east, just in case this thing does happen to tighten up a little bit farther or a little bit further. So we've got Pumpkin Center here. Again, now we're crossing over here into southern portions of Cherokee County, Qualls up to around Pettit, up to around Carter's Landing. Again, this is the area here across southern portions of Cherokee County that if the circulation were to tighten up, this is the area here, southern Cherokee County, that would possibly be in line for that circulation to move through. So just wanted to point that out, just kind of give you an idea here for southern Cherokee County just to be monitoring this closely. I'm going to continue to watch this closely. Real quick, I'm going to go back up into the Tulsa area where we've had those strong storms moving on through. Let's zoom out just a bit. Let's get back up here into the Tulsa Metro. And again, we've had some very strong storms into the Tulsa Metro, potential tornado, but we've also had a lot of straight line winds that came in with this as well. Widespread area, some very strong winds move across the city of Tulsa. So let's zoom in just a little bit closer now. And we may end up going a little farther north within this line as well, up into parts of Nowata County. Looks like those winds, let me go back to the actual velocity and not storm relative. Winds certainly have come down here over the metro. That is certainly good to see. You can still see some strong winds here right around the Inola area. Let me go ahead and just plot a few of those, because it's been actually behind the line where we've had some of these stronger winds showing up. And again, these are certainly bit lower compared to what we were having earlier. Still some of those showing up into the 50s. Remember earlier we had some pushing 80 to 90 miles per hour. So again, that doesn't necessarily mean that was happening at ground level, but the velocity data was picking that up just above ground level across the metro. So some of those gusts could potentially have been reaching the ground. That is, again, why we've had lots of wind damage, it looks like, across parts of the Tulsa metro as this has moved on through. Let me pan a little farther here to the north. You can see farther north here up to around Nowata, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. If we go back here to reflectivity data, still some pretty strong storms here. Nothing severe, but still need to monitor these as well up into Nowata County, crossing over the state line here into Montgomery County too. Going back here to the south, that one area of circulation near Muskogee definitely was catching my eye. So let's just get back down here. There's that little notch again. Right now, we still have a tornado warning in effect for that area because of this particular warning that was already out for the line with that potential for circulation. So let's just go back to the velocity data real quick. I want to get a close look at this, see what it's looking like at the moment. And again, still fairly broad circulation, but I tell you what, just need to watch this closely here, right around areas now east of Muskogee. We're looking to the north and west here of Bragg. So right here is Bragg's. I mean, we're just a few miles here northwest of Bragg's, and that's where our circulation is coming right across the river here at the moment. Let's go ahead and just pan a little bit farther here. Again, this is going to come right across Muskogee County line and eventually cross over here into Cherokee County. If it holds together, potentially could see this tornado warning extended maybe into parts of Cherokee County. But again, that circulation certainly is catching my eye. There's no doubt about that. Switch that over to storm relative velocity. It is still there. And looking at the reflectivity data, again, that's kind of right where that notch is that we were looking at within the line. But even if that doesn't become tornadic, we're still going to have some very strong winds with this as this does push on through. And that's why we've seen that extension of a severe thunderstorm warning here into parts of Cherokee County as this line continues to push through. Now, the southern end of this line, we're not dealing with anything severe, but you can see moving here now western portions of Haskell County, Pittsburgh County. It is a loud morning for you. Showers and thunderstorms, maybe some gusty winds, a lot of lightning and thunder. But thankfully, with what we're seeing here to the south, we are not dealing with anything severe. But here is where we still have that large tornado warning, just kind of a broad brush within that line where we could have had some circulations developing. But now the severe thunderstorm warning extending east of there, that does include here Mays County and Cherokee County, southern portions here of Craig County. So we'll do a quick up and down the line here. Let's do another quick update here with those storm tracks. Again, let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer, and we'll pan here. Let me take that there. We'll pan this a little bit farther here to the west, so we'll have room here to draw that storm track on there. So again, let's just track the leading edge of this line, moving at about 50 miles per hour here off to the north and to the east. Let's see if I have enough room to draw this on. I may have just enough. There we go. Just enough to put that on there. So again, Tip 450, Sunsweet 450, Salina 452, Big Kevin 453. A lot of these were within about 5 minutes of moving on in. Pensacola 455. And again, farther down the line here, Langley, Spavinaw, eventually here to around Xena, Grove, Cleora, back over to around Jay, Bull Hollow. This line is going to continue to move on through, potential for some damaging wind gusts as this line approaches you here from the south and the west. Let's go ahead and remove that. We'll go farther down the line here track this line of storms here, eventually across southern portions of Delaware County, Adair County, and across portions of Cherokee County. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take this right from near Salina and then down. Let's track this here off to the east and northeast. And again, close to about 50 miles per hour. So Lost City 450. Salina again about 451 with this particular storm track. Snake Creek 453, Shady Grove 454, Thompson Corner 455, Gabriel about 456, and Gideon at about 458. And again, notice farther downstream of those communities, we've got Tahlequah here. We're probably within 20 to 30 minutes of this line moving into Tahlequah. So be prepared in Tahlequah for a strong line of storms to move through, potential for some damaging wind gusts as this does move on in. Little Kansas back over to around areas here near Bull Hollow, Watts, West Siloam Springs, back down to around Westville. You're a little bit farther down the line, but we'll have to watch this as well as this line continues to move on through. So again, it's not wasting its time. That is for sure here as this line continues to push off to the east. We'll go farther down the line here. Again, there's that little notch. It doesn't look quite as impressive as it did earlier, thankfully. I was getting a little bit more nervous when it was closer back here just to the south and east of Muskogee, but we'll still watch that. I'll get another look at the velocity data with that just in case. And let's go ahead and draw out this track as well. And again, we'll draw this out right across here, just north of I-40. And again, everything moving here off to the east. Pumpkin Center, 451. Gore Landing, 452. Paradise Hill, 453. Tin Killer State Park, 456. Redbird Smith, 457. And areas around Woodall at about 457 as well. So again, damaging wind gusts can be a main concern with this as it continues to push off to the east. And again, we'll continue to watch this farther downstream here near Stillwell, back over to around Bell, north here of Muldrow, Aikens, and back to around Vian as well. So let's go ahead and remove that. I'm going to go back, zoom out across the area. Again, we still have that one broad area tornado warning. It doesn't look like we even have any severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment, which is certainly some good news. And so potentially might be able to go back to regular programming here as we continue to monitor these strong to severe storms that continue to work their way across eastern portions of Oklahoma this morning. Again, we've definitely had some wind damage in Tulsa, potentially a tornado, but we've also had a lot of strong straight line winds move through the area as well. So again, that is just something to keep in mind. We've probably had some issues in Tulsa with perhaps some trees down, perhaps some power lines down. And so just monitoring that as if you're out and about this morning, as you're driving around, just be mindful that you may come across some debris on area streets and roads for sure. So just be mindful of that. Looks like we do have now a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that will allow the tornado warning to expire. That severe thunderstorm warning, again, basically areas that we had just tracked here. We're looking at Craig County, Mays County, also here southern portions of Ottawa County, Delaware County, Cherokee County, into Adair County, and basically the northern area here of Sequoia County as this continues to move off to the east. Again, these storms have been racing east at about 50 miles per hour. So again, it has been just an active morning across Green Country. And again, we've had multiple tornado warnings and now still dealing with this line of storms moving on through. Not only that, just got to be careful with all the rain that we've had, that we got more rain coming down on top of it, and in what will likely be a very active couple of days. So we've got this line of storms this morning. I think we could have more potential for severe weather and flooding concerns later today and into tonight. We may have another chance Monday morning and again Monday afternoon and Monday evening. So we've got 2 active days here of potential severe weather and flooding across Green Country. Very active weather pattern. You know, we do get a little uptick in severe weather as we go into autumn, as the jet stream starts to come back south after spending the after spending the summer up north. So you get a little bit more in the way of wind shear, and the dynamics of the atmosphere become much more favorable for severe weather in the autumn compared to what we have in the summer. So now we're seeing that come to fruition with some of the severe weather that we've had here the last couple of days. So again, as of right now with this tornado warning, expiring. Just monitoring that severe thunderstorm warning there for those of you, again, parts of Cherokee County into Adair County, also into Delaware County and Mays County. We still do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer. Let me remove that severe thunderstorm warning off of there real quick. And let's zoom back in here and do some storm tracks with this new severe thunderstorm warning. So let's go in here a little bit closer. You can see how we've got a bit of a bowed segment here from Salina back over to around Adair. And again, let's go ahead and get a look at this right here. We'll track this out. So that's coming right into Salina at the moment. We'll move this off to the north and to the east, close to 50 miles per hour. So we're looking at Strang at about 456, Estella 456, Pensacola at around 457, Rose at about 5 o'clock in the morning, Spavinaw 501, Veneta 501, Langley 502, Pensacola Dam at about 503. So again, areas here, damaging wind gusts, that's going to be the main concern with this as it continues to push off to the north and to the east. We've got Afton again farther downstream, Grove as well. So areas here around Grand Lake, just be prepared, strong to severe line of storms moving through with potential for some damaging wind gusts as this does move on in. So as this does approach you from the south and west, best to stay away from windows as this does move in. And keep in mind, we've had at times some circulations developing along these lines. So you still can't 100%, even though we don't have a tornado warning right now, still can't 100% rule out that maybe a tornado tries to develop within this line as it continues to move off to the north and to the east. Let's pan here farther to the south. Get you here into Cherokee County and into Adair County. There, that notch is still showing up there. Let's just switch it over here to velocity real quick. I just want to take a look at that because that notch, again, not too pronounced. It's not terrible. Maybe a little bit of perhaps a circulation showing up right in here. Let's see what that looks like with the reflectivity. So, yeah, maybe a little hint of circulation there, but nothing to prompt a tornado warning, at least right now. It doesn't mean it may not happen later. So, again, but just something to monitor. We've got a little inflow notch here within that line here now moving into parts of Cherokee County. But while we monitor that, let's do a quick storm track here because this is going to be moving into Tahlequah here very shortly. Again, tracking the leading edge of that line out to about 50 miles per hour. And again, right about there. So again, Cherokee County, moving in here, areas around White Oak at about basically right now, 457. Gabriel, 458. We're looking at Gideon at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And areas around Pettit at about 5:02. And again, farther downstream here, we've got Little Kansas. We've got Tahlequah. So Tahlequah, we're probably looking at this within 10 minutes now of moving on in. We've got areas here near Barber, Bunch, Stillwell as you get back over here into parts of Adair County as this line moves through. And again, same situation as I was talking about earlier with areas to the north. Damaging wind gusts going to be the main threat with this, maybe 60 to 70 miles per hour, but can't rule out maybe that perhaps something might try to spin up within this line as it continues to move on through. So let's go ahead and take that off of there as we pan here farther to the south, back down to around Gore, Porham, and Quinton, back over to around McAllister, Hartshorn, and Savannah. Strong line of storms moving through, but the southern end of this line has not been severe, thankfully, so that is certainly some good news, but still some gusty winds, a lot of lightning and thunder likely keeping you up early on this Sunday morning, so just monitoring that here. So that's about ready to move here into Stigler. Hartshorn pretty much moving in right now. Wilburton seeing that line of storms moving through. Let me switch this over to the Fort Smith radar real quick, and that'll give us even a clearer picture with some of these storms here across southern areas because the Fort Smith radar is right here, a little closer view here. And again, nothing severe right now, but worth monitoring here as this continues to move off and through the area. Let's go back up to the north where we've got those severe thunderstorm warnings still ongoing. And again, there's that line here pushing into areas here over Cherokee County. That is quite intense here. About ready to move here into Tahlequah. We'll do a quick storm track here as that is inching closer to Tahlequah. So again, damaging wind threat is going to be the main concern here. Again, still can't rule out perhaps a spin-up tornado. But again, notice as that continues to move off here to the east, Black Gum moving in here pretty much within the next couple of minutes. At about 5 o'clock, we're looking at Box 501, Liberty 501, Keys 502, Cookson at about 503. And again, just beyond that here, within 5 to 10 minutes of moving here into areas around Tahlequah up to around Ellerville and even down here to around Barber. So again, watching this line here, potential for some damaging wind gusts as this continues to move on through. We'll pan back farther to the north. That line here, I'm going to switch it back over to the Tulsa radar because that'll give us a clearer picture with these storms over northern areas. There you go. And again, that line kind of bowing out here. It's not very wide, that area of reflectivity, the highest reflectivity, but it doesn't mean you're not getting some strong winds out of this as it does race off to the north and to the east. So we'll do a quick storm track on this as well. Back over to around Veneta and Langley. And let's go ahead and track this here off to the east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So again, Langley pretty much moving in right now. Spavinaw moving in right now. Pensacola Dam 501, Veneta 502. We're looking at Grand Lake Town at about 503, Disney 503, Kenwood 504, Ketchum 504 as well. And again, everything continued to move here off to the east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and remove that. I do want to see what's happening back here farther to the west. Let's just zoom out just a little bit more. I'm going to go all the way out here. And again, there you can see the main line pushing on through. We've had a lot of wind in the Tulsa metro. So again, if you are in Tulsa, please keep in mind there's probably going to be some damage around with some of that wind that was moving through. So just be advised to that. We had a lot of power flashes. Mark Folta was out on that storm as it was coming right into the Tulsa metro. We saw numerous power flashes from Mark's vantage point. We had some tree limbs through the air and everything. So again, just be advised in Tulsa, probably have some wind damage around, especially areas from Brookside back toward Midtown, east side of Tulsa is where some of those stronger winds, actually kind of similar to the path. I don't think it was as strong, but similar to some of those winds that we had with the Father's Day storm back in June of last year, or at least a similar track to where some of those stronger winds did move on through. That's where we had, again, I was plotting some of the velocity data that was coming in. Again, that's not at ground level, but we were getting numbers 80 to 90 miles per hour as that was showing up across parts of Midtown Tulsa. Again, this main line here, still pushing off to the east. Still got a little bit of a notch here that we're watching over parts of Cherokee County. Just a steadier rain right now back into Tulsa. So things in Tulsa, a lot quieter. We're in the all clear right now in Tulsa, so we're good there. Muskogee, you're in the all clear. Pryor right now, pretty much in the all clear. Henrietta, we're in the all clear. It's areas now along and ahead of this line as it continues to push off to the east. That is the main concern. So again, we'll do another update here with some of the storm tracks with this as it continues to move through. Let's just go in just a little bit tighter here. We'll go north first. Take you here. Again, here's Grove, here's Jay, right here is Grand Lake, and right here is Veneta. And again, almost now getting close to where Pensacola Dam is, the leading edge here of that line. And so let's do a quick storm track now with this. Move this off to the east and northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So again, this is not wasting time here as it races off to the east and northeast. So Grand Lake Town, at about right now, 502 to 503. We're looking at Ketchum 504 and Leach at about 507. And again, farther downstream here, we're probably now within 20 minutes or so here. Other areas around Grand Lake, back down to around Jay, Bull Hollow, back down to around Little Kansas as well. So again, damaging wind threats going to be the main concern with this as this races off to the east and northeast at about 50 miles per hour. Elsewhere here, let's go ahead and track this line across Cherokee County and Delaware County. Still a little notch there. Keeping an eye on that. So far, though, so good. But just been watching that since Muskogee. Again, you got to watch those areas. Sometimes those can tighten up to possibly produce a tornado. Cookson 504. We're looking at Wildcat Point 504. Green Country Estates pretty much moving in right now. We're looking at Cherokee Landing State Park 505, Carter's Landing 506, Park Hill 506, Tahlequah 506. So again, that is now beginning to move here into the Tahlequah vicinity. Some damaging wind gusts possibly moving into Tahlequah. So again, as that does move in, just stay away from windows as that does move in. Adair County farther downstream here, we've got areas from Westville back down to around Stillwell. This is probably now within about 20 to 30 minutes of moving into your vicinity as well. So damaging wind is going to be the main concern. Again, get inside away from windows as this does move in, and we still have to just monitor this. Let me pull up the velocity data real quick. Again, maybe a hint right there of perhaps some circulation. I'll actually switch this over to, let's switch this over to the Fort Smith radar. That'll give us a little better picture here, a little bit closer. Again, maybe a little hint here that we're trying to get a little circulation to possibly develop, but nothing right now to trigger a tornado warning. But still got to watch this area here, parts of Cherokee County. There's a little broad area of circulation within that line that we're just keeping an eye on. But again, severe thunderstorm warning here in the yellow box. That's Adair County, Cherokee County, up into Delaware County, up into Mays County as that line continues to push here off to the east. Again, moving close to 40 to 50 miles per hour as that continues to move through. I'm going to see if we can get an updated look here at perhaps some of the wind speeds as that is moving on through. And again, just watching this closely here. Let's see what we've got here. Again, with some of those winds moving on through. Again, 50 or 60 to 70 miles per hour. In fact, even observed a 70 mile per hour winds with this as it has been pushing on through. So again, forward speed, maybe up to about 55 miles per hour now. So it has been picking up a bit of speed here as this continues to move on in. And again, across the Tulsa Metro, likely seeing quite a bit of damage as this has moved on through. So again, if you're out and about in Tulsa this morning, you may come across some debris that has been on some of the streets and some of the roads in the area. Meteorologist Annie Brown, I can see her over here in the Weather Center, has popped in as well to help out with what has been turned into a very busy morning this morning, no doubt about that. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Again, in Tulsa, a lot of steadier rain as we put the velocity data back up here. Let me actually switch this back over to the Tulsa radar here and get back to the velocity data. Again, the velocity, nothing like we had earlier this morning as those stronger winds were moving on through. So again, thankfully, we're good there. Let's pan here a little farther to the north. Let's zoom in here. Again, areas, kind of watching this area here over parts of Nowata County, just kind of keeping an eye on this. Again, the reflectivity, not too impressive, but we'll have to watch this. We might be trying to get a little bookend vortex here over parts of Nowata County. Definitely some stronger winds potential here. Again, maybe just watch this closely around the Nowata vicinity. Let's make a look here at storm relative velocity. And let's take a look at what we've got here with our rotation kind of in the same area. Again, look at some of the velocity data here, seeing some of those greens and those reds pretty close here. So again, potentially for some strong winds right in here around areas around Nowata and southward. And this is kind of similar to what was happening over Tulsa, where we had, again, some strong winds kind of wrapping around a fairly broad area of circulation. It was on the south side of that where we had some really strong winds moving across Brookside and into parts of Midtown. So again, just kind of watching the potential for some very strong winds here right around Nowata. So definitely keeping an eye on this area here, southern portions of Nowata County. Again, if you're in Nowata, I would stay away from windows with that potential for some strong winds here with these storms. Again, you look at the reflectivity, and it's not anything that you would look at and think, oh, that's a really strong storm. But we've got a lot of wind here still ongoing over areas around Nowata. And there could be even just a little weak circulation that we're keeping an eye on here, southern portions of Nowata County. So just monitoring that here, southern Nowata County. So that's well back behind here, the line. But remember what I was talking about with what was coming across Tulsa, what we call a bookend vortex. So as we zoom out just a bit, again, you can see the main line is surging forward here. And then on the northern end of that, you get a little bookend with perhaps a little bit of rotation. So that's what could be producing some stronger winds here around southern portions of Nowata County. So just kind of keeping an eye. And this is similar to what came right across Tulsa as we were watching those tornado warnings here out to the west of Tulsa. And then we ended up getting that surge of wind coming in from behind some of that circulation that, again, likely produced quite a bit of wind damage in the metro with even a potential at least of a tornado. So again, just watching that out there this evening. Main line here here, pushing out to the east. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings here, still ongoing now for Craig County, Ottawa County, Delaware County, Cherokee County, down into Adair County. And again, we've also got that severe thunderstorm warning back here, even though the reflectivity doesn't look very impressive, still potential for some very strong winds, damaging wind gusts right around southern Nowata County into areas around Nowata. We'll zoom in just a little bit closer here. Let's go back here into parts of Cherokee County and into Adair County. And again, just watching this little notch, it's not as impressive as it was earlier, thankfully. So that is certainly some good news. But again, still watching this line here, racing at about now 55 miles per hour out to the east. So coming right into Tahlequah as we speak. Let me just actually pan this a little bit farther here to the west, just to give me a little bit more room here to get this area, track this here into eventually parts of Arkansas. So again, let's go ahead and do a quick track here with this. There's the main line surging here out to the east. And again, it is moving quick, close to 50 to 55 miles per hour. So looking at the times here, Scraper 5:11, Briggs 5:12, Rocky Mountain about 5:14, Bunch 5:15, Chewy at about 5:16, Lyons at about 5:17. So monitoring that. And again, just downwind up there, we've got Stillwell, we've got Westville here, areas along Highway 59 here across parts of Adair County. Again, just be mindful as this line moves on through. Wind gusts 70 miles per hour certainly are going to be possible as this continues to move on through. Let's pan farther up to the north here along this line as we get now up into parts of Delaware County, into southern portions here of Ottawa County as well. You can see that line coming right through Spavinaw, right here through Langley and Veneta, now approaching here around Jay and Little Kansas. So again, we're within here five to 10 minutes here of Grove, probably within about 5 minutes here of Jay and Little Kansas of this line, beginning to move on in with potential for some damaging wind gusts as it does so. Back here farther to the west, again, still got this area here around Nowata. Let me just switch this back to velocity data just because we're monitoring this. Again, not very tight circulation showing up here, but at least some broad circulation hinted here and potential for some fairly strong wind gusts. So again, just monitoring this here with the potential for some of those strong winds. Let me actually plot here, see what we've got here back in some of these greens showing up here. So again, not too terrible. Again, from this vantage point, we are going to be a little bit above the ground, but again, that's not too bad, thankfully. Nothing like we had at times over parts of the metro with some of those potential wind speeds that were producing quite a bit of damage into Tulsa. Again, still watching though here, a little hint of some at least broad circulation, southern portions here of Nowata County. We'll zoom out just a bit more. Let's get a look at what we've got here, back over to reflectivity. And again, that line of storms continuing to march on through, again, all the way up into southern portions of Kansas as well. Still some heavy rain and some lightning and thunder as you head up to around Coffeyville, but no warnings as you get up into southern portions of Kansas. But we do have severe thunderstorm warnings here extending from Nowata County all the way back through here along this line here into Delaware County, Cherokee County, and Adair County. And then as you get farther to the south, even though it's a very loud morning here to the south, as you get south of I-40, thankfully nothing is severe warned at the moment. Back to around McAllister as you head here Haskell County and into Latimer County. So that is certainly some good news there. But we're going to continue to watch these storms as they still are moving on through here through the morning hours. No tornado warnings right now. So that is the good news. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect across the area. So that is certainly some good news there, as this line has likely produced some damage here across much of green country as it continues to move on through, but not seeing anything tornadic. We've been watching that notch here over parts of Cherokee County. That thankfully has not materialized into any sort of a tornado warning. So that is certainly some good news. I will switch this back over though. Let's go back over here to the Fort Smith radar. I just want to take a look at the velocity, see if we're seeing any sort of hints of circulation within this line. And again, nothing that is raising an eyebrow right now. Maybe some broad areas here and there, but nothing that is of any concern right now. So that's certainly good news there. We'll pan back to the north, again, just kind of analyze here within this line, and I'll switch it back to the Tulsa radar as we get farther to the north, because that's actually a little closer to these storms to the north. And again, just kind of analyzing here within this line, not seeing anything of any concern. And again, back into Nowata, maybe a broad area showing up as you get back into that bookend area here with the reflectivity. Again, you can see the main line, and then you get that little bookend right there where there might be just some broad rotation, but not seeing anything there that is of any concern. So certainly good news there. So right now, again, no tornado warnings are currently in effect, but we've had, again, some damage more than likely across a swath here from areas across Tulsa. Again, Mark Volta has been out this evening monitoring a lot of those storms for us, keeping an eye on those storms. And as those storms came across Tulsa, we had power flashes ongoing. And again, a lot of wind with those storms. Those winds really started to pick up. We had tornado warnings as well into the Tulsa metro. And so it has been an active morning, a very active early Sunday morning. And again, even it's November, we do get a little uptick in again, in that severe weather in the autumn months as the jet stream comes back south. So again, with all the wind that we did have across the area, we've had multiple reports of some power outages. Meteorologist Annie Brown is in, and Annie, where are we at right now on power outages?
Yeah, Michael, I was just talking to some of the crew in the back, and they were just saying that some areas are getting closer to about 20,000. This is showing 5,000, but again, it's still updating as those power outages are coming in. You can see lots of blue on there. I know that you were saying that this is a lot of similar vibes to what we had during the Father's Day storm, and that is the case, but thankfully it's not nearly as bad. But you're going to notice this morning, I know a lot of you are woken up going, okay, what are we looking at? It's November. What are the area roadways look like? Well, I was able to get in and take some pictures on my way to show you kind of what we're looking at. And again, 41st, it looks pretty rough out there. You can see some downed trees. An entire tree has been uprooted. This is near 38th and Rockford, so very close to the station. A lot of downed trees. I had to take a lot of different side roads. I didn't see any power lines down in the streets, which was good news for that reasoning. But if you're going to get out this morning, definitely until the sun comes up, have your brights on, because you will be encountering obstacles like this if you're having to get out. If not, kind of hang back until we get some breaks in this precipitation. We're still keeping a close watch on those power outages, and we'll bring you those updates as we go throughout, Michael.
Appreciate that, Annie. You can definitely see there, that image right there tells you kind of the story. And as those winds really picked up as those storms came across the metro. And again, they were tornado warned. We did have some areas of circulation, but then we also had just a lot of wind as well. Then those stronger winds did follow a very similar path to what we saw with the Father's Day storm. They weren't as strong. They weren't 100-mile-per-hour winds, but still enough, as Annie was showing you there. We've got some damage across not just Tulsa, but a lot of green country this morning. So just be advised as you're getting out for Sunday morning, going into Sunday morning services, that you may come across some damage around your neighborhood, or maybe some other neighborhoods that you might be going to. So just be mindful of that. Again, right now in Tulsa, we've got just some steadier rain. The severe threat is over with, so we're in the all clear in Tulsa. Let's pan here back to the east with this line of storms still marching eastward. Now it's pretty much up to about Highway 59 here from Grove down to J as you head back all the way here. Again, now crossing over here into from Cherokee County into Adair County, and again approaching here Westville and Stillwell, getting very close to you. Again, damaging winds going to be the main threat with this as this continues to move on through. We'll switch it back over to the Fort Smith radar here real quick just to get a clearer picture here as you get down into parts of Sequoia County and into Adair and Cherokee County. And again, you can see areas here where we've got still some strong winds moving on through. And again, we did see reports of damage around the Tulsa metro as well. Mark Volta has been out chasing the storms. And Mark, an active early morning. Again, we've had some damage around areas here around the metro. What are you seeing right now, Mark?
Yeah, Michael, there's definitely some damage over here near about the 42nd to 46th and Memorial between Mingo area. I'm seeing a bunch of building materials and a bunch of debris in very small swaths that appeared they were just ripped off and blown across the road and into the side of the road. But I can't find the actual buildings that have been damaged themselves. So I think I'm going to head back over towards that 41st and Peoria Rockford over there where I possibly intercepted a small tornado earlier and see if there's any damage over there, and I'll get back with you here in a little bit, Michael.
I appreciate that, Mark, and appreciate Mark being out there for us early on this Sunday. Again, he was right on this as it was coming into the Tulsa metro with power flashes and a lot of wind. And again, we had tornado warnings as well, so potential that a possible tornado. But again, we had a lot of wind too that produced a lot of damage. So it's just been a very active Sunday morning. Again, here is that line now moving here into parts of Adair County. So you're on the back edge of this here. Probably still some pretty strong winds here around Tahlequah, but beginning to come down a little bit, thankfully. But again, areas here from Stillwell, Westville, this is now probably within about 10 minutes of moving on in. So you want to make sure you are away from windows as this line does push through. Potential could see wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Again, farther to the north, I may zoom in just a little bit closer here so we can get a few more communities to pop up here on our map and again, to get a little closer look. There we go. That's a bit better. I am going to switch it back over to the Tulsa radar as we go farther north. Let me go ahead and get that warning off of there real quick. And again, it's here from Little Kansas moving in right now. Maybe a little small hail with this, but likely dealing with some very strong winds here. Little Kansas, this is Highway 412 that continues all the way to West Siloam Springs and Siloam Springs into northwest Arkansas. Again, right along here, you're going to be dealing with some very strong winds. Colcord, it's about ready to move in as we speak. And again, also here, as you head farther to the north, we'll head up here to around areas around Jay, up to around Sycamore. Again, now moving into Jay, Sycamore, it's just on your doorstep. And again, let me switch this back over. I thought I had done that. Let's switch it back over to Tulsa reflectivity. There we go. And again, right around Jay, and then farther to the north, that line kind of falling apart here, but still likely some gusty winds, at least as you head up to around Afton and up here to near Fairland, where we had a tornado earlier last week on Wednesday evening right around the Fairland area. So again, more severe weather tonight. Back over to around Welch and back over to around Hollow as you head back over here to Centralia. And again, we've been watching this area here kind of on the book end of this line, potential for still some fairly strong winds back here into the Nowata area. Still watching again. That rotation's not looking nearly as good. There might be a little broad rotation in here, but I'm not seeing anything right now that is of any concern. Again, nothing too concerning here, but just kind of watching, again, this area here where you get this little bookend area can sometimes be a spot where potentially a tornado could form. And that's what we saw earlier around the Tulsa area. Back out to around the Sand Springs and Sapulpa area where those rotations were looking fairly tight there for a bit in those areas. And then, of course, we just had a lot of wind as well move across Tulsa too, along with the potential for a tornado. So again, it has just been a very active morning. We'll zoom out again, and I'm going to put this into motion and just kind of play this out. Let's go ahead and play this out real quick. And let me zoom out a bit, and let me go ahead and take that warning off of there. New severe thunderstorm warning now extending into parts of northwest Arkansas. Again, Tulsa, we are in the all clear, but we've still got some rain moving through, and we've had a lot of rain. So just have to monitor the potential for flooding as we watch this rain continue to move on through as well. And by the way, again, we've got severe weather out there this morning. It's going to be a very active next couple of days. We'll probably get a little bit of a break after this moves through this morning, but potentially could have more severe storms back later today and into tonight, and then another round of severe weather as we go into Monday, maybe even a couple of rounds. We may have a morning round and potentially an evening round as well on Monday. So we're going to have to watch that going into Monday. So again, we've got the severe weather early this morning, but it's going to be a very active couple of days for us. So just be advised to that. As we go over the next couple of days, you'll continue to want to stay weather aware, not just for the severe weather chances, but as we continue to get more rain, the flood potential will continue to go up as well. We do have a flood watch that's in effect. It goes all the way through Monday, and we've already had some spots up to around 4+ inches of rain just with what we have seen through the overnight hours and into this morning. So again, already seeing some of those rainfall totals add on up. But again, watching this line here continue to push off to the east. As soon as this crosses over into Arkansas, that will pretty much wind down a lot of the threat, although we'll still have to keep an eye on this area back here over parts of Nowata County. But this line continues to race eastward, coming right through Grove and Jay and Little Kansas right now. And again, it is not wasting time. It's been moving at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So again, not wasting any time at all as this continues to race off to the east, now moving here to around the Stillwell area. Again, just stay away from windows as this does move in. Those wind gusts could be 70 miles per hour. Notice as we go farther to the south, thankfully not dealing with anything severe down here, but still some gusty winds. Loud morning for you, Stigler, back down to Wilburton, back down to around Savannah and McAllister. So again, what a busy morning we have had so far. We'll zoom out just again. And Andy, if you may come to you here, just an update on some of those power outages. Have we seen any changes as far as the power outages are concerned, or pretty much on track with what we had seen earlier?
Those numbers growing, and that is very much the case. We went from a green shade here in Tulsa County now to yellow, so that's indicating upward of 10,000. So we went from 5,000 to 10,000 people without power. A lot of that, they're saying a good chunk of this is coming just south of the Tulsa metro. So we're keeping a close watch on things, but that number continuing to grow this morning. Again, Oklahoma City is also in that yellow, so they're indicating that 10,000 range. I do anticipate these numbers, these boxes to go up as we go through the next hour or so as we're getting those reports coming in.
I appreciate that, Annie. And again, if you have not heard, we've had multiple tornadoes around the Oklahoma City metro area earlier through the overnight hours. So again, that has been a problem there. It's been a very active night, not just for us here in eastern parts of the state, but even as you head back into central Oklahoma and southwest Oklahoma. Lots of tornado damage there with what was probably multiple tornadoes. And of course, we've had our own tornado warnings to deal with here as well, and even some damage around our area from possible tornadoes, or at least from straight line winds with some of the winds that were moving on through. And you can see still the wind damage potential here with this main line pushing here off to the east. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little closer here. Let's go back. We're going to go from south to north this time, and we'll go switch it back here to the Fort Smith radar. And that'll give us a cleaner image here with what we're seeing over parts of Sequoyah County back here into Haskell County. And again, we'll pan, I didn't mean to do that. We'll pan though to the north. I may take that zoom feature off of there. Now I can pan it back up to the north. And again, Stillwell, look at this, bowing out, coming right into Stillwell. This is the concern that we've got here. 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible here as this works its way eastward quite quickly. So this is going to race off into Arkansas here really quick. But again, Stillwell, stay away from windows as this line moves through up to around Westville and Watts. It's moving in right now. So again, 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible with this as it continues to race off here to the east. As you head up to around Colcord, you're now seeing some, perhaps even a little bit of hail mixed in here, but probably not very big hail. This is mostly going to be a wind concern as it does move off here and race to the east. So just on your doorstep now, West Siloam Springs and Siloam Springs, Little Kansas, you're getting onto the back edge of this. We'll switch it back over the Tulsa radar here as we go farther to the north. And again, even on the back edge of this, we still could have some pretty strong winds behind the initial push here of this line. And so just be mindful of that. And farther here, as we go into parts of areas here of Craig County, we still have severe thunderstorm warnings here. And again, you look at this reflectivity and you're like, well, that doesn't look like much at all. But still potential for a lot of wind to be generated in this area here of this thunderstorm complex. So even though the reflectivity doesn't look very impressive, still potential for some damaging winds here. Vanita up to around Blue Jacket, and now seeing this area here of higher reflectivity move out of areas here from Nowata County into parts here of Craig County. And I just want to keep an eye here on the velocity data as well. Not seeing anything at the moment that would indicate that we've got any tight rotation. But again, sometimes on the back edge of these bookend vortexes, you can kind of get an area of tighter rotation. When I say a bookend vortex, if you didn't hear me earlier, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You've got this main line pushing on through. So you see this surge here, and then that line kind of arcs back, and sometimes you get a little swirl here on the northern portion of this line. Sometimes you get them on the southern portion as well. So it's just the air pushing forward here with the strong straight line winds. And because that's really pushing forward, you get kind of on the book end of that line, you get a little bit of a swirl. And sometimes that swirl can tighten up enough to produce a tornado. So that's what we're watching back here to the north. But right now, just the potential for some stronger winds at the moment over parts of Craig County, moving out of Nowata County as this continues to race off to the north and to the east. Again, the Tulsa Metro, we still got some rain. I could just hear a few rumbles of thunder outside the studio, but the severe threat is done for the time being in Tulsa, at least with what we've got out there this morning. Keep in mind, with all the rain that we've seen, still could have some high water in some spots. We've had a lot of rain, 3-4+ inches of rain over a lot of the metro through the overnight and into this morning. So just be mindful of that as this continues to race here off to the east. And again, still severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings right now. But just watching this closely as this line is about ready to cross over here into parts of Arkansas. We'll go back here. Let's go to the south. Again, just kind of monitoring the southern portion of this line. Thankfully, we have not had anything severe, no severe thunderstorm warnings down here. But what we'll have to really pay attention to is notice how the southern end of this line, it's not really getting a push to the south and east. We're starting to see some areas here possibly train over some of the same spots. So we'll have to watch the rainfall amounts here closely. Potential, if that doesn't move much, that we could really start to see some of these rainfall amounts possibly lead to some flash flooding concerns if this were to continue. So that's just something that to monitor, as we're not getting as much of a push with the southern end of this line as what we're seeing here to the north. And again, where we're getting that push, that forward push, that's where we have the potential for those stronger winds. And that's why we're seeing areas here now approaching northwest Arkansas with the potential for severe weather. So that line now, leading edge, at least the leading edge is through Jay and Little Kansas. Let's go in just a little bit tighter here just to get a few more of the communities to show up here. Again, over parts of Delaware County. Again, West Siloam Springs, and also crossing over into northwest Arkansas. We've got Maysville here. We've got Cherokee City here. So again, right on that Arkansas and Oklahoma state line, you can see that line beginning to push on through. And let me go ahead and stop that from moving forward. We'll just take it from where it is right now. And let's just pan down this line and just continue to analyze this line as it moves on through. So here's Colcord, back over to around Beckwith. And again, this is now getting to approach here Siloam Springs. I just want to check the velocity here real quick. I think we're good. I think we're going to be okay. Let's see if that's a velocity. There it goes. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything here of any concern that we might be getting any circulation to show up. So that's certainly some good news. Let's pan farther to the south. And again, we'll get a look from the Fort Smith radar here. And let's do a quick velocity check with this. Everything's looking good there. Let's go back to reflectivity. And you can see the, again, high reflectivity here, heavy rain. Still likely, though, dealing with some strong winds here from Chance. Just now, just about to you here in Westville as you head farther to the south here, back through Barron and Fairfield and Stillwell, seeing the heavier rain and some of those stronger winds move on through. Again, wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour possible with this as this does move on through, back down to around Cherry Tree and Greasy. And then as we head farther to the south here into parts of Sequoia County, that's where the storm still pretty intense reflectivity-wise, but it starts to lose some of its intensity regarding some of the wind within the storm. So that no severe thunderstorm warning here as you go back to around Sallisaw. So that is certainly good news there. Again, back here to the north, though, this line just about ready to move on through. We've got areas here along the state line, Evansville, Arkansas. As you head back up here near Cincinnati, Arkansas, again, this is about ready to move on in. Westville, about ready to move on in as well. So again, main threat with this is going to be 70 mile per hour wind gusts as this line continues to push off here to the east. And again, back here, areas around the Tulsa metro, things are a bit quieter. But as this line now continues to move out of Oklahoma and is now beginning to move here into parts of northwest Arkansas, we'll go ahead and go back to regular programming. But again, if by chance we get any other warnings farther south down this line, or maybe perhaps get a spin-up tornado, we'll be back on and update you for sure. But right now, it looks like that severe threat beginning to wind down over much of northeast Oklahoma, although we still have that severe line for our eastern portions here, Delaware County into Adair County. And again, it is about ready to cross over here into northwestern portions of Arkansas. So if you live here, again, just stay inside, away from any windows as that line moves on through with those potential wind gusts up to around 70 miles per hour. And real quick here, Annie Brown, do you want to give another update with the power outages real quick before we sign out?
Significant jump in those, and we were worried about this. Now over 25,000 here in the Tulsa County. A lot of that coming in right around the Broken Arrow area and here in the Tulsa Metro around 6,000 roughly, but in the Broken Arrow area, you're looking at 13,000 to even at some areas with 12,000. Combine that all together, we're looking at over 25,000. Those are just some of the hardest hit areas right now that we are seeing. So unfortunately, these numbers continue to go up. So a lot of people probably jumping on their phones right now, streaming us because they're not able to get that power in their location. So they're wondering what is happening, what they're looking at right now. A lot of us are under this power outage, as you can see. Still getting reports of some strong lightning going on here in the Tulsa Metro around 61st and Yale. And I did get a report from Mark Fulta saying that there are some trees and some signs even down around Promenade Mall. So maybe avoid that location this morning where we knew that some of those winds were hitting at their hardest. Again, that sun has not come up yet, and Tulsa's looking pretty dark if you're looking out right now using our downtown camera.
I appreciate that, Annie. And again, there's the view there from our downtown camera, and there's the view here on dual Doppler. This, again, very active morning. And just to remind you, we are not done. We have more storms probably on the way for later today. Some of those could be strong to severe. We have the flood potential to go with it. And we probably will have more storms for Monday with severe weather potential and flood potential as well. So potentially very busy couple of days here across the area before everything moves on out and we have a chance to quiet down on Tuesday. We were so dry, we couldn't even get a drop of rain through September and much of October. But boy, finishing out October and coming into November on a very active note, no doubt about that. Again, there's that line here. We'll just real quick, while we've got the time here, just go up and down this line again one more time just to kind of scan, make sure we're good before we completely sign off. But again, this is about ready to cross over into Arkansas, so that threat is beginning to wind down. But again, right here, far eastern portions of Delaware County and Adair County, still dealing with potentially from some very strong winds here. So I'm going to switch this back over. Let's get to Tulsa velocity here, and we'll go right up and down this line real quick. And again, that line now crossing right on the state line here in Delaware County. And again, now moving over into far southwestern portions here of Missouri and northwest Arkansas. So again, as we pan down this line here, you can see you're now on the back edge of this here around Grove and Jay. Probably still some pretty gusty winds even on the back edge of this, but the main line now continues to push here off to the east, right near Siloam Springs, Watts down to around Westville. Let's get a quick look at the velocity data here. Again, just monitoring here, and maybe I'm watching this area here near Westville. Let's hold on here just a bit. I kind of want to watch this. Let me go back to reflectivity, see what we've got here near Westville. It doesn't look like anything too impressive there. There might be a little bit of a hint here of a rear inflow notch right here. So that could indicate that we may have some rotation here near the Westville area. So just monitoring that. Again, that's what you kind of have to watch for. Just kind of scan this line. Again, it's really tricky. You don't know where it potentially could pop up, but anywhere within that line, you could get a circulation or two to pop up. So just monitoring that. And then farther to the south, let's switch it now as we get farther to the south here, closer to Fort Smith. We'll switch this over to the Fort Smith radar real quick. Let's go reflectivity. And again, there's that line here back through Westville and Stillwell. We'll look at the velocity data. And again, nothing too impressive here of major concern. Storm relative, again, not really seeing anything here that is of major concern. As far as rotation, you're probably going to get a little bit here. Yep, right on that line. That's not too uncommon to see that. But again, because of that, again, that's why you just have to just be mindful that you could get a spin up within this line. But right now, I'm not seeing any hints that that's about to happen. That's why we just have severe thunderstorm warnings with this as it continues to move off to the east. But still, some pretty strong winds here moving into the Watts area, into areas here around Westville. So overall, this line continues to push off to the east, and as this continues to move off into Arkansas, the severe threat will continue to lessen. But farther to the south here, we still have that line. It does extend here back through Sequoia County, back down through Haskell County, and now into parts of Latimer County and even into Pittsburgh County. Nothing severe with this, but we'll continue to monitor as we go throughout the morning. So again, just real quick here before we sign out, that severe line of storms now beginning to push off into Arkansas, still hanging on here, parts of Delaware County and Adair County, some gusty winds, possibly 70 miles per hour. So again, as that continues to move through, just stay away from windows, be inside as that moves on through. Severe threat is done in the Tulsa metro, but we've had some damage. Power outages in a large chunk of green country, including the Tulsa metro. Again, early this morning, we had even tornadoes as well in the Oklahoma City metro area with damage there. So it has been a very active morning across green country. So we'll continue to monitor these storms. If we need to break back in, we certainly will. But of course, lots of updates with the damage that we've already seen. Lots of updates with the storms that could be on the way as well. And of course, on 2 News Oklahoma this morning at 8 o'clock, we're going to have all those updates for you. And of course, I'll have some additional cut-ins through the morning hours as well, just to update you with what's happening this morning. Until then, continue to keep you advised. Everybody have a safe morning, and we'll have more updates through the remainder of the day.